Mm-hmm. I'll deal with all of that just now. Hi guys. I'll address all of that right now. Just trying to get the guys who are at home linked to us for a Zoom. Okay. Landon, Landu joining us. Yes, Landon, thank you, and Landu, thanks for joining us. If you want, anybody who wants to say hi to them, you're more than welcome to come and show your faces. You guys just keep your mics off, please, just to assist with the feed. What I'm going to do, you're gonna see on the screen exactly what the rest of the guys are gonna see. I'm gonna share the screen now with you, and we're gonna share the test that you wrote. Today's first session is going to be just feedback on your term test, okay? Right, I'm not sure if anybody has any results yet. I know it's been moderated, but I also know that because it was such a short exam period, there were people still writing last week, and everything is not moderated, so everything's not been sent out yet. But regardless, I think you'll get a pretty good idea. Let me put it this way. I'm not exactly sure, and to be honest with you, as some of you might think, I'm not as good as some of you might think, so I cannot remember every single individual result. I do know, however, that all of you, I think, safely negotiated the test though. Okay, but I mean, as I said, the exact marks, obviously the academic office will release when it is available and has gone through all the tests. We have not picked up any problems in our moderation. So the moderation for the test that you wrote, the term test, didn't pick up anything. So you guys are fine. Okay. How was the test? How was the term? There we go. Term gone. Hey? Wake up one morning and now we're in. I saw it yesterday. It was so amazing. It was frightening, as a matter of fact. The French Open tennis tournament started yesterday. It was like, what? Did I miss something? This usually happens in May. It was a bit of a change, but yeah. To those Chelsea fans, I hope the money that you've spent are going to be beneficial to you, and be patient. Be patient. You bought well. You bought very sensibly, but it's also it's clear in any sport, if you buy all those celebrities and all those names and those players, they are not going to be gelling as a team from the start. And I think that's where the fans are very frustrated, because they want the results immediately. You know, they only want Ronaldo and there's only one Messi, so that can step into another team and make a difference immediately. It's not going to happen, yeah, at least we are slowly getting back to normal. I moved into a new home in a Bahraini estate out there where the new campus is going to be. 2 days before lockdown, okay, and I'm literally from here to the Prestige building from the clubhouse where they've got a bossa, and 2 days before lockdown. I had my first beer there 2 weeks ago when we went into onto level 1. So now you actually can go back and sit because I wanted to watch some football. Because I mean, you sit at home and you're so restricted home, it's fine and you can actually Uber foods and whatever. But just that, and it was a strange, surreal feeling. Everybody was there and having beers and they've got the mask on and off and whatever. But it was almost like if you're like looking over your shoulder the whole time. It wasn't the same. I mean, you guys have gone out and socialized as well. I mean, but it's okay. But something's missing, right? Anyway, we're back here. So term 3, tick that box. How's everybody's moods? You good? Strong? 3 more weeks. 3 more weeks. 3 more weeks, and in 3 more weeks, fortunately, only 2 new chapters. We'll start the first new chapter in the second period. Hi, Josh. We'll start chapter 12, I think, is on selling services. This far we've been dealing the whole time with selling products, right? Now we're selling services, and services are obviously intangible stuff. It's like an insurance policy, for instance, or a Discovery Health plan. It's not something that you can actually put in the microwave, heat it up, and eat it. Okay, you can actually use it, and you only use it when you have a health issue. Okay, so that's a type of a service. We'll deal with that in the second chapter, but let's go back to I somewhere have additional mouse here, and I'll find that very soon. Landon, a lot of you guys at home, at any point, if there's any questions, just unmute yourself and ask a question, okay? For the very short 3-week 4th term, we will have these sessions as per schedule, as if nothing happened, as if we're back in term 1, pre-lockdown. I have not received any alternative communication from our academic office. But to answer your question, I believe that all future remaining tests, that would be quizzes, online quizzes for class tests, will continue in that same fashion. The attendance as well, it's open the whole day. So although you guys are here, you still have to go onto Moodle and tick your attendance. Wel, jy gaan die quiz kan doen enige tyd deur die dag. Ons kan die quiz ongelukkig ons nie hier doen nie, want dan almal moet nou toegang tot 'n rekenaar nodig en dan gaan die hele stelsel gaan, want wel, hy behoort dit daarom nie, maar die feit van die saak is, actually sê, tensy ek vir julle sê bly by die huis nie, want die klastoets gaan jy 20 minute neem. Die klastoets sou kan geneem word, en ek wil nie nou myself uitspreek daaroor spesifiek nie, omdat gewoonlik het ons, kom ons sê ons het 'n dubbelperiode so dag, want byvoorbeeld nou iets gedoen en die klastoets die volgende periode geskryf. Okay, maar julle is mos hier. But now that we're not, there is a possibility that depending on how we progress with the work, it still needs to be done. I think it's only 2 chapters that we have to do. If we do that at the pace, because it's not long chapters either. It's not difficult work either. If we progress well with that, then I would say, listen, yes, let's continue in that fashion. So on that day that you write the class test, you're not doing a contact session on campus, okay? Because we can't write the class test here. The same with your assignment. That's the other thing that we'll address now. Assignment 2. when it's due, what it's about. I think yesterday when I quickly browsed through it, it's again something that you can easily do, and as we go through it now, we can check and see if you can start with it already, or there probably would be chapters that we've covered that you can start with already, and that would be submitted like you did previously on Turnitin. Okay, go onto the Moodle, go to that little folder that's already been created for you, upload it, we'll mark it, give you feedback. The feedback would obviously be slightly different, although you will have your feedback given to you on your submitted assignment. We can also do a feedback in class. And the last week that we hear is probably going to resolve around revision. Okay, and then obviously submitting that final assessment, but we'll deal with that now. Let's deal with what has happened in the past first. But yes, as to my knowledge, all the remaining assessments, regardless what assessment, for this particular faculty and this module, is going to be done. Online. Okay.
So we see that
3 weeks, probably 3 weeks of delivery. I think as a, why do I think the week of the 25th of October? I think we probably still have one class, maybe on a Tuesday, and then you're ready to go. But we can check now. We go through the study guide, and we'll have a look and see exactly when the test period starts. I don't have the days from memory. I'm not going to go through multiple choice. I mean, you guys should be fine with multiple choice, right? You either get the right one or the wrong one. Let's just test your knowledge. Was that a sneeze, Lwanda? Okay. Probably fell out his chair. You think where's he now? He's hiding in the back corner. Identify which concept the buying of a hamburger at McDonald's referred to. Kan jy nog onthou? Dis om net om vinnig die cobwebs af te kry. Relationship, transactional, partnership, accounting. Going on. I've got a bit for. Who said relationship? Because you'll be wrong. Who says transactional? You'll be right. Okay. And for those who are waiting for 3 of C and D, sorry, you're also going to be wrong. It's transactional. They have the burgers. You've got the bucks. You take it out your wallet or your card. It's an exchange transaction. You want the burger. You have a need for the burger, and remember that those are all conditions of a transaction. You must willingly. They must willingly. No. We want the burger back. No. You can only get half the burger. No. It's the full burger. You pay the full price. So it's a mutual consent on both sides. They want to give you the burger, and they want your money. Okay, you want the burger. You don't really want to give them the money, but that's part of the transaction. Okay. Okay, everybody's awake now. Let's go to the questions. True or false? That's always true or false. Always so. Geez, could be anything. But what I did find, however, your true or false sections in the online quiz on Moodle is a bit easier to do than actually. It's almost like you've got the block that you have to, or the little circle that you just tick, A, B, C, D, or whatever. I think from a logistical point of view, I just find it easier than actually reading it through, geez, and then writing through and then saying false. Now, tick that box. Nobody had problems there, I think. Discuss in your own words the importance of a salesperson to understand the policies and procedures of the organization they represent. What would you think would be the model answer there? Why is it important? You're the sales rep at a company. You can pick any company, Brutal Fruit or whatever for that matter, or SAB Miller or whatever. You can see we've been out there for a long time. Huh? All the examples are liquor related because we've been knocked out. No. Let's say, for instance, you're a rep for We're not going to take the clicks option like Mr. T just said previously, but it is a contentious issue. And man, that should be a lesson for all of you future salespeople and marketing people. In this day and age, with Black Lives Matter almost around every corner, people, I think I watched the video and I'm going to send you the link. I'll put it onto Moodle. It's from Dr. Bernardi or something like that, a female doctor, not a medical doctor. She posted the video and I watched the video, and I think for the first time at the age of 56, I understand racism properly. And I think it was to me, I thought, you know what, I see a person as a person. I always have. I mean, and yeah, to me, it's never been an issue. And even I learned a great deal. And I think it's very, that's why I'm going to send it to you. It's just, I mean, I usually keep this apolitical because at the end of the day, it's everybody's choice what they do. But it's in our faces, something that we have to deal with and confront on a daily basis. And I think the more knowledgeable you are about anything, I mean, also remember, I think I previously used the example in class as well of a snake. We're all scared of snakes because we don't know enough about them, okay? And if we go through the trouble of actually understanding, then you'll probably know and you will be able to see them, interpret their movements as dangerous or not, and avoid them or deal with it correctly. But it's with anything in life, on any subject. The more knowledgeable you are on it, the better you are prepared. And therefore, I cannot understand what we're going through the minds of clicks. I can understand if it was nanos, because nanos are born with their feet in their mouths when it comes to their ads. It's always controversial, but it's also topical, and it's also, people almost have to put, people, I'm not suggesting that people would have treated, if it was a nanos ad, they would have treated it differently. It's still wrong what they did, but you just have to be extremely careful when you sit down and especially because you guys are going to be heading campaigns, and some of your assignments would deal with campaigns and promotional campaigns, and we have to be so sensitive. But at the end of the day, it's important still to get the message out. But to get to the question, why is it important that the salesperson knows? If you know what your policies are, you know, if you get in a negotiation and somebody says, you know what, oh, it's a great deal, but oh, is that your best price? No, that's a typical objection. Okay, is that your best price? If you don't know that you have some leverage in your price to maybe make a special offer. Oh, so if you buy 15, I can maybe slash off an extra 10% or something like that. Or maybe, and then that often happens when they're selling vehicles, car salesmen, when they have a certain color in stock, for instance, a color that they anticipated was going to be popular, but it wasn't. So if you buy that color, so I can give you 20% discount. Those kind of deals are very common. But if you, as a salesperson, don't know what your boundaries is in which you can negotiate, what leverage you have with the client. And that's one of the reasons why you need to know what the policies are. The policies on discounts, the policies on returning products that are damaged, refunds. Those are all things that's important. And if you don't understand the policies of the company, then you won't be able to do a proper sales job and deliver that 5-star service that the customer nowadays doesn't deserve but expect. Describe the importance of an organization to set sales territories. It is important. I mean, on a number of levels. It makes you work more efficiently. If you have, if you're a sales rep and you have to service 5 spas, the one, where's the closest spa? Yeah, I don't even know. Supermarket. Let's take a Pick and Pay, for that matter. Closest Pick and Pay is just up the road here. Okay, and then I think there's one in, obviously it's one in Tiger Valley. let's say, for instance, that's your line that you have to up to Cape Gate. You'll probably find there's one at Glengarry, there's a Pick n Pay, there's one in, there's not one in, yes, there is one in Cape Gate as well. Let's say those 4 are the ones that you as a sales rep have to service. Visit, maybe you're representing B&B Biltong and you have to visit them on a regular basis to see if they need. Then it will be sensible, because of the distance that you have to travel, to actually go to Cape Gate, which is your furthest one first, and work back towards where you are, if you are located here where we are now. There's no point in going to the one closest first and then driving to the furthest one and then coming back to the second one. You have to work out a specific area, and then also to ensure, because that's one thing that customers hate. As much, some people like see, you know what, if I see a representative twice in a week, it's a miracle. If you see 2 different ones twice in a week, you've got a problem, because then obviously they don't know which territories they're working. Because they can also, it can also result in an annoyance factor where, guys, I mean, I was happy. I mean, just yesterday was one of your reps here. You don't want to deal with too many, because you as a client build a specific relationship with a specific sales rep. Okay, so it's important that you operate in a particular area and that you're clear on which area you work in, so you do not miss out, that you plan your trip properly from a cost point of view, especially if it's more into the rural areas where it's not just 15 Ks up and down, but we're talking 300 Ks where towns are apart. Then you have to plan properly, and obviously it involves staying over and stuff like that. So that's all part of it. So it's a cost-effective tool to have a territory in which to operate. It's also, from a company's point of view, very important, because you can now measure the performance of the salesperson, because you know in which area they operate. If 3 people are sharing the same area, it's very difficult, because I mean, one guy can go to the shops once a week or visit his clients once a week, and the other rep goes there once every month. They work in the same territory, so I mean, but this guy only goes once a month, because he knows every time he goes, he gets a great deal. So he makes his budget every month, but he only visits once. So from a business point of view, to also ensure that you can offer the best service to your customer, but also measure the performance of your salespeople. It is important that they work in specific designated territories. Okay. Okay, that was a calculation. Break-even point, people, it's something that you will find in most tests and class tests and exams and assignments. It's quite simple. Break-even, some people color in the question with all kinds of information that's not necessary. What is break-even, or the break-even point for a salesperson in the most simplest terms? It's where your total turnover or output or revenue, in other words, income, equals your total expenses. Now, total expenses are fixed expenses, like the salary that that person gets, or it could be, it adds your fluctuation expenses, okay, which are basically traveling expenses, cell phone. Okay, you might go on a contract, but I mean, one month you make more calls than the other month. Okay, so your rent and your salaries and stuff like that, those are fixed costs. Okay, your variable costs are the ones that can change from month to month. The combination of those two is your total expenses. Total expenses and your total income. At that point where they are exactly the same, it's a point where we call break even, because you are not making a loss, but you're also not making a profit. Okay, and break even can always be questioned in 2 different ways. They can ask you to give me the break even point. In other words, tell me what amount, what my income and my expenses need to be to break even, or how many units I have to sell to break even. Okay, that's the more common one, where they give you the information like they've done here and said, listen, calculate to me what the break-even point is. Now use all that information and say, right, at this point, you see the expenses and the income is exactly the same. How many units are sold at that price? That's the number of units that needs to be sold. It's also used as a tool for business, by businesses to give to their salespeople, and that's the reason why it's in this course, people. Why do you need to know what break-even is? Because you get a budget as a salesperson that you have to make every month. Okay, anything above that budget means ching, 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 commission. Okay, you get a basic salary as a salesperson, most of them, and additional commission. So if you exceed that budget, and the budget is going to be, from a business point of view, it's going to be break even plus whatever their markup is, let's say 10 or 15 or 20%. Anything beyond that is yours. That's bonus time. That's commission. Okay, so that's why it's important from a salesperson's point of view that you know what your break even is, because you know that you need to at least do that this month to make sure that you're still going to pay your salary, but if you don't make your budget or break even 2-3 months in a row, you're going to get a call from the manager that says, maybe you need to rethink your future. Okay. Okie dokie. You are with the Toyota dealership in Cape Town. Indicate how would apply each step in the selling process. I gave you 20 marks there. Huh? How difficult is this question? What's the first one? Hello? You wrote this test 2 weeks ago. First step in the selling cycle, selling process. Dus of jy sê wat se bladsy dit ook is bladsy 5 in die handboek. Of 7. Prospecting. Yeah. Okay. At least we're awake now. Okay, you can take off your mask as long as you're a meter and a half away apart from the other person, so you can actually get some fresh air, and not because you need fresh air because your brains are rotting now. Really. Prospecting, people. No, we strictly adhere to the rules, but that was a joke because your brains definitely have left behind, or somewhere it's on timeshare and you are not sharing it today. Okay. There are 10 simple steps. In the real world, there's probably 8 because 1 or 2 steps can be combined. That pre-approach and the approach is very often combined, where you prepare your presentation before you actually go do it. Okay, and it's interesting. It's interesting. I think I have uploaded some links, but it's interesting. There's 1 or 2 articles that I think that would be sensible for you guys to read. If I haven't, I'll check if I've uploaded it tonight, and if I haven't, I will. How COVID-19 has affected the role of the salesperson, how to sell in COVID-19. Because if you were a rep who's going from shop to shop with your samples and demos that you cannot do now, you can't sit back and say, sorry, COVID-19. No, you can't blame everything on COVID-19. Online selling, Zooming like we're doing now. Guys, the Wonder and Landon, if we cut out after 40 minutes, it's a recurring session, so please just immediately come back online, okay? Give me a thumbs up. Are you guys still there? Probably not. Thank you, Landon. So it's important that we adjust our ways in which we deal and do business. It's a pandemic like this brings the best out of people and it brings the worst out of people. We've seen yesterday, open a newspaper, 300 million has been stolen, money that was supposed to go for grants towards people who are not just surviving, they are, yeah, they're right down there. And then on the other hand, we hear some very wonderful stories of, and I can't think of a better example than our national rugby captain. I think I could see that his lungs on Saturday in that first game that they played again was actually battling, and it's because he hasn't played a lot of rugby. But he's touched and he's made a difference in so many people's lives with the Khaleesi Foundation, and how many people actually, especially those schools. The schools that were closed now during lockdown, but there were kids going to those schools on a daily basis just to get that. That's where they want to get the only meal for the day. So to keep that running, I can see that the man's tired. But anyway, it's important that the message is, it's important that from a sales point of view, and within any other business, that we don't just sit back and say, lo and behold, what next? Can we just finish 2020 and move on? The virus is not going to disappear, people, and the effects of the virus is not going to disappear. How we deal with it and how we do our business and is what's important. And you'll find some creative guys, creative ideas that will pop up now all of a sudden. On the radio this morning on the way into work, listening to KFM again, and Wackett said that he read this article yesterday about, you know who our influencers are. And you guys are in social media. So, there are influencers, people who you follow, and they, those influencers who apparently have these jet-set lives, it's not 100% true. There's a studio in Los Angeles where you can book for $64 an hour, where you can book the studio, and the studio is the inside of this jet plane. So you just rock up there, you pay your money, and you get photographs and videos of you jet setting all over the world. Meanwhile, you're just sitting in the studio. How vain is that, sir? But that's where we are. But you know what? As I said, nothing surprises me anymore in 2020. But the fact is, those were obviously people who were restricted, who were used to traveling. I'm not suggesting that these influencers were not used to traveling. They were probably jet setting, but now it's lockdown. You can't travel. You can't go anywhere. Okay, but they thought, okay, I'm still going to travel. My question, if I was looking at, where did you get the plane? Because we're in lockdown. But influencers, we believe that they are special people, so maybe they have different rules. Interesting with the American presidency, the elections coming up in 40 days' time. You might not be interested in that, but I actually enjoy that. It's much better than watching the Kardashians. Okay. With Biden and Trump, the only thing they have in common is age. They're both old, and the one doesn't have a filter. It'll be interesting once they start going with live debates. I think the first one is tonight, actually. It'll be interesting because, yeah. Anyway, it's nothing new it's nothing new, or it's nothing different in other countries. People, we have the same kind of situations. Asked Trevor Noah the other day, selling that house in Los Angeles, 350 million rand. He sold his house for. Because he can't get there, he doesn't have to go there that often anymore. He just stays in his penthouse suite in Manhattan, which is probably also about 350 million for a house. Huh? Wow. Anyway, lockdown. But again, if you continue watching the Today Show, they just changed it. We in lockdown, doesn't matter. An American president that doesn't believe that there should be restrictions. Let's scroll down for those guys. Online, London, you can also see we're busy there with question 6, or just finish question 6. 7, visiting patterns. Again, I gave you marks. Huh? If you're battling with the paper up to this point, sure, easy. Who battled with this? Who battled with this?
Was this a feature of
I can clearly remember that you were one who didn't get this right, yeah. And it was strange to me, but again, And that's how we improve as well. I mean, setting papers and stuff like that, ensuring that. But the patterns weren't that difficult. But again, that's what people say, you got 12 marks. Okay. Question 8. Let me scroll down for these guys as well. Very difficult to maneuver with 2 mouses here. What's it, 2 mouses, 2 mice? Huh? Is this a mouse? I know there's a mouse, more than one is mice, but what is this? More than one. Mouses. I don't know. Resting patterns. In qualifying a prospect, there are certain things that a salesperson should look at. Discuss the 6 criteria for qualifying a prospect. Anybody? Do you know? Qualifying prospects? It's in that chapter where you have to determine what's the main objective of the salesperson. What's the main objective of a salesperson? Make a sale. Thank you, Josh. Make a sale. How do you make a sale? By helping a customer solve a problem or identifying a specific need that that customer have for a product that you have to offer. Okay, make a sale by identifying the need of the customer, offering a product that they would satisfy that need, help them solve a problem by offering a product that will solve that problem. Okay, that is in essence what qualifies a prospect. In other words, does that person have the money to buy the product? Why are you just wasting your time? A good friend of mine, he owned a computer school in Worcester, Welland Computer School. But he was always dressed like a homeless person. Okay. He had a his beard was challenging because he probably hasn't shaved it for years. Okay, so that immediately gave you that sort of caveman appearance. Dresses in khaki shorts and pluckies. He looks like a normal South African white farmer boy. Okay, he walks into BMW, to Mercedes-Benz in Worcester, and dressed like that. Okay, looking around at the vehicles. You can see that the salespeople will actually just die off. You know what? No. Okay, he hasn't got the money to buy. He's just going to waste our time. We're going to take him on a test drive, and he's going to be a nice joyride for him. And nobody assisted him. And then later on, he went up to one of the salespeople, and he says, "Listen, this new ML500 here, yeah, the silver one. Do you have other colors as well?" He says, "Yeah, I mean, they come in all the colors that we offer." He says, "Well, I want 2 black and 2 silver, please." And the guy was like, "I do sort of. I've got the previous model I can trade," and they were just, the jaws just dropped. And he then walked out after buying those 4 vehicles, out and negotiating not to pay commission to the salesperson because they didn't sell him anything. He bought it, and they didn't offer him any service or assistance. So imagine that. It's like you've seen the movie, probably you have, Pretty Woman, Julia Roberts, way back when she was a prostitute, and then she got hired for a week by this rich businessman, to accompany her to him to different functions. But I mean, she was dressed like a prostitute. Okay, they don't come in all the nice fancy. So she was a typical street prostitute issued dress, chewing gum and whatever, all those unrefined behaviors. And then she went shopping, and nobody wanted to assist her because what she's gonna buy. Really. And then eventually